Novak Djokovic is the world's #1 tennis player. He's a 3-time defending champion, and nothing seems to be stopping him yet. The world's top tennis player isn't well liked by some people, and topping the list of haters is Australian tennis star Nick Kyrios.
But with Novak, he's not a player that's short of tennis. He's played a lot of tennis over.
And as it turns out, the feeling's mutual. It's no secret that the two have been beefing for the longest time, and both players have been outspoken about their hate for each other. In their last 2 meetings, Djokovic failed to defeat Kyrios in a single set. The Australian triumphed when they first met at the 2017 Acapulco Open. In their round of 16 matches at the Indian Wells the same year, Kyrios won. As long as Kyrios had the 2-0 lead over Djokovic, things remained heated. But the heat died down a little when the scales were balanced at 2-1. The last time they faced off was in the 2022 Wimbledon Championship singles final.
First of all, I just want to congratulate Novak and your team. Of course, you've won this championship. I don't even know how many times anymore.
Where Novak won in 4 sets. But for the longest time, Kyrios has been more of a critic than an opponent.
My personal opinion, people can have their opinions on it. I just don't think.
And he was not holding back. Let's go over a timeline of comments that Kyrios has spewed against the Serbian star. It all started in 2019 with Nick's podcast appearance. Nick Kyrios spoke candidly on the No Challenges Remaining podcast. He took his hits toward Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic. He referred to Nadal as very salty, but he had quite a lot to say about the Serb. From calling him a Roger Federer wannabe to calling him out on his obsession with being liked, Kyrios was not holding back. "I can't stand him," he said. "Yes, Nick, we can tell. Calm down." And it wasn't just Djokovic wanting to be liked that was the problem. Apparently, Kyrios doesn't approve of the way Djokovic celebrates either. Djokovic's usual celebration style is blowing kisses to the crowd. Pretty normal, right? Nothing wrong with it. No, not on Nick Kyrgios's watch. He went on to call his celebration style cringeworthy. As you can see, at this point it isn't even about criticism. Kyrios took another obvious shot at Novak through video. He was seen crossing his name out and putting X's on a Novak printed t-shirt. There is sports beef, and then there's whatever Kyrios is doing, which seems to be taking things to extremes. The 2019 Wimbledon final was contested between Djokovic and Roger Federer. On the morning of the final, Kyrios showed his support for the Swiss on social media.
You have a certain feeling about someone, or they do certain things that, rub you the wrong.
His tweet said, "Federer, please win. We know you don't support Djokovic, Kyrios. Are you really going to rub it in our faces?" In May 2020, he appeared in a live session with Andy Murray. Here, he went for a straight comparison and called Murray better than Djokovic. This comparison was followed by harsh criticism of Djokovic's game.
You can say that my success had a positive.
It wasn't all petty, though. At some points, we had to side with Kyrios as well. Djokovic planned an exhibition tennis tour in June and July of 2020. This was right around the time when COVID-19 pandemic peaked. In addition to planning a large-scale gathering, the players also socialized and danced together. Following the tour, COVID-19 tests for Borna Coric, Grigor Dimitrov, Viktor Troicki, Goran Ivanisevic, Novak Djokovic, and Jelena Djokovic all came back positive. The decision by the Serb to host the Adria Tour was dubbed boneheaded by Kyrios.
A bit of a relationship with tennis. It's a love-hate thing. At times, I love what I can get out of the sport. Obviously,
No argument there. Sorry, not sorry. Kyrios tweeted out that all this and irresponsible things Djokovic had done, this takes the cake. But that wasn't it for Djokovic's COVID-19 related mess-ups though. Before the 2021 Australian Open, Djokovic asked the government to ease COVID-19 restrictions.
Conclusions and assumptions out there, I think it's important to speak up about that.
Whoa, hold on. First, we see him not taking the pandemic seriously. Then, he's trying to come into Kyrgios' country with suggestions like those? Honestly, Djokovic had it coming this time. Kyrios criticized Djokovic as the leader of the sport for not setting the right examples. And when nobody else did it, he took it upon himself to hold the tennis elite accountable. Kyrios was also hoping for the fans to focus more on the game rather than Djokovic's entire COVID-19 drama. And since that didn't happen, he was obviously not happy, and rightfully so. Talk about being a tennis elite. Kyrios has conflicting opinions on that front too. In an interview with Herald Sun, Kyrios refused to deem Djokovic the greatest player of all time.
I felt great physically. At the end of the match, honestly, I feel fine. Just mentally.
That's right, straight up refused. On what basis though? Well, this comment comes from the era when the head-to-head count was 2-0 in Kyrios' favor, and according to him, if the greatest can't beat him in a match, he's not great. Kyrios has also been vocal about the unfair advantage that European players have. Compared to Australian players, Europeans like Novak do not travel around much. According to Kyrios, he travels around half the year, away from family and friends, and Kyrios made sure we know that he is mad about it.
For this tournament, it's been circled on my calendar pretty much all year, and I'm so excited to be here again.
But all this is just one side of the feud. Novak Djokovic didn't remain quiet throughout this trash talk.
On the court where I had the biggest success in my career, definitely.
And had his share of savage clapbacks as well. Following Kyrios' comment on the podcast in 2019, Djokovic was just cold. He called the Australian an attention seeker and said he wasn't losing any sleep over his comments. Djokovic also defended himself against the criticism of the Adria Tour.
And obviously we're all here to celebrate sport and all the values that we all try to represent.
Comparing the whole fiasco to a witch hunt, he stood by his intentions and stated that he would do the Adria Tour again if he could. Djokovic finally said, "Off the court, I don't have much respect for Kyrios." Ouch. This obviously had Kyrios all riled up, and he was quick to respond, saying he did everything right off the court.
He just felt like he was never rattled, and I feel like that's his greatest strength. He just never looks rattled. He just looks...
In fact, according to Kyrios, Djokovic shouldn't have had respect for him on the court. After all, he wasn't the one shirtless at a party during a pandemic. Djokovic once again clapped back with the coldest remarks, refusing to pay any mind to Kyrgios' case. According to Djokovic, attention was all Kyrios was looking for, and Djokovic was in no mood to give him the satisfaction. Djokovic cut to the chase and stated that he has no interest in the guy whatsoever. 2022 onwards, we have seen healthier relations between the two. The road to betterment started with Kyrios' support for Djokovic amid a real-life crisis. When faced with country entry restrictions, Kyrios was one of the few to stand up for Djokovic, which was a little unexpected, honestly. But then again, that doesn't really mean anything when Djokovic is going around telling people that he doesn't have any respect for Kyrios, and that was quite the shock to a lot of people, since Djokovic has always talked about how much he respects Djokovic for his game. However, the athlete claimed that while he does, Djokovic is a talented guy, he can never have any respect for him off court. So it seems like no matter what happens, it will take a lot for these two to find common ground. And that's because their back and forth never ends. To Kyrgios' comments, Djokovic clapped back and said that the Serbian was a very strange person. He claimed that it didn't make sense for Kyrios to not respect him since he has gone about things well, especially during the pandemic. That's right, he went there. Novak talked about how he was extremely careful during the time and didn't want to spread the virus to anyone. I mean, the shots were fired there. It's pretty obvious that there is a lot of unsettled beef between these two, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. Those were some of the reasons why Kyrios hates Djokovic, and I'm sure the list will only increase with time. Thank you so much for watching our video today. Click the like and subscribe buttons, and we will see you in our next video.